Thunder cracked across the iron-gray skies of Asgard as Thor slammed his empty tankard onto the great wooden table of Valhalla's feast hall. The golden mead dripped down his red beard as he roared with laughter, his massive shoulders heaving beneath his scaled armor. But his revelry was cut short by the sudden appearance of his brother Loki, who materialized from the shadows like smoke from a dying fire. Loki informed Thor of the dark stirrings in Jotunheim and the theft of Odin's sacred runes by the frost giants. Thor's laughter faded, replaced by a growl that shook the hall's foundations. He vowed vengeance and tightened his grip on Mjolnir. For once, Loki agreed with his brother. However, he cautioned that more than brute force was needed, as the runes were hidden in an ice fortress guarded by magic and warriors. And so the two gods set out across the rainbow bridge, Thor's red cape billowing in the fierce wind, while Loki's dark leather armor seemed to absorb the very light around him. As they approached the frozen realm of Jotunheim, the air grew thick with ice crystals that cut like tiny daggers. The first frost giants appeared as massive shadows in the swirling snow. Thor didn't hesitate. With a battle cry that shattered ice sheets, he hurled Mjolnir into the chest of the nearest giant, crushing its frozen heart. The hammer returned to his grip just as another giant swung a massive ice axe at his head. "Behind you!" Loki's warning came as he thrust his hands forward, sending green flames that melted through a giant's legs. The creature crashed to the ground with an earth-shaking roar. Thor spun, Mjolnir connecting with the ice axe. The weapon exploded into countless shards, but the giant pressed forward, grabbing Thor's cape and hurling him into a glacial wall. The impact cracked the ice, but Thor emerged with a savage grin, blood running down his face. "Is that all you have, beast?" he taunted, spinning his hammer until lightning crashed down from the dark sky, striking 3 giants at once and reducing them to steam and frozen chunks. Loki danced between the giants' attacks, his daggers finding weak points in their icy armor, while his illusions confused and divided them. Indeed, more giants emerged from the blizzard, some wielding ancient weapons of black ice, others channeling frost magic that threatened to freeze the gods where they stood. Thor's response was to slam Mjolnir into the ground, sending a shockwave of lightning that cracked the very earth beneath their feet. The battle raged on, each brother fighting in his own way, Thor with devastating force, Loki with cunning and deception. The snow turned red with giant blood, and the air filled with the sounds of combat and dying screams. Finally, they reached the ice fortress, its twisted spires reaching into the storm-dark sky like frozen claws. But before they could breach its walls, the fortress gates burst open. Out stepped Utgard Loki, king of this realm of frost giants, holding the stolen runes in his massive hands. "Sons of Odin," his voice boomed like an avalanche. "You have fought well to reach these gates, but your journey ends here." Loki stepped forward, his silver tongue ready. "Perhaps we can negotiate, mighty Utgard Loki. Surely there's something else you desire besides these runes?" Thor grabbed his brother's shoulder. "No negotiations with thieves, Loki. We take back what is rightfully Odin's." He hurled Mjolnir straight at the giant king's head, but Utgard Loki used the rune's power to stop the hammer mid-flight. The weapon hung suspended in the air as the giant king laughed. "Fool, with these runes I command the very forces you rely upon." Loki's eyes narrowed. "Brother, when I give the signal, call your lightning. All of it." Thor nodded, understanding dawning in his eyes. Loki began to circle the giant king, his movements drawing Utgard Loki's attention. "Such power you hold," Loki said, his voice hypnotic. "But do you truly understand the rune's nature, their cost?" The giant king sneered. "Do not attempt to deceive the deceiver, trickster. I know well what I hold." "Now, brother," Loki shouted, throwing his hands up. A dome of green energy surrounded Utgard Loki, just as Thor summoned a lightning storm of unprecedented fury. The lightning struck the dome, but instead of dispersing, it concentrated inward, amplified by Loki's magic. Utgard Loki tried to use the runes to protect himself, but the combined power of Thor's lightning and Loki's sorcery proved too much. The runes overloaded, their power backfiring in an explosion that shook the entire realm. When the light faded, the giant king lay broken upon the ice, the runes scattered around him. Thor retrieved Mjolnir, while Loki carefully collected the sacred symbols. "A clever plan, brother," Thor admitted, clapping Loki on the shoulder hard enough to make him stumble. "Yes, well, sometimes the direct approach isn't the best one," Loki replied, straightening his armor. "Though I must admit your lightning provided quite the spectacular finish." As they made their way back to Asgard, the remaining frost giants kept their distance, their respect and fear earned through blood and battle. The brothers crossed the Rainbow Bridge as dawn broke over the Golden Realm, the stolen runes secure in their possession. In Valhalla's halls that night, Thor and Loki sat together, sharing tales of the battle over flowing horns of mead. Even Odin himself joined them, the recovered runes once again safe in his keeping. "To victory," Thor boomed, raising his drink. "To cunning," Loki added with a sly smile. "To brothers," Odin concluded, his one eye twinkling with pride as he watched his sons celebrate their triumph, knowing that while they fought in different ways, together they were unstoppable. But in the shadows of the feast hall, Loki's eyes gleamed with hidden thoughts, for the trickster's mind never truly rested, and already he was planning his next great scheme. For now, though, he would drink and laugh with his brother, celebrating their hard-won victory over the frost giants of Jotunheim.